Hey guys, it's Spencer. I wanted to do a quick training today on how we can adapt the layout of our cafe to help us better stay in the target language. You, at this point, have probably read or watched YouTube videos on a couple things talking about comprehensible input. Just to summarize comprehensible input very briefly, what that is that is staying in the target language, speaking in Spanish or signing in ASL or whatever language you might be tutoring in, and making sure that the student can understand us even if we're teaching new or foreign words to them. So I want to go over just a few pods that are going to help us to be able to do that. The first one is one we already have open and one that we should always have open no matter what we're tutoring in. And that is this webcam right here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my webcam is sitting right below my camera. You guys may be able to, tell if I put my webcam or my camera down in this corner, you guys can tell I'm not looking at you, right? But if I put it right below where my actual camera is, it looks like I'm establishing a connection with you. And then as I go along teaching, you'll be able to tell a lot of what I'm trying to say just by my facial features. If you stumble through a sentence and I'm not quite sure what you're trying to say, I can say ¿cómo? And with a confused look on my face, you can probably tell that I didn't understand you. If I'm trying to teach about different feelings, I can say estoy feliz, and you can tell just by my facial expressions. Yep, okay, feliz is going to be happy. Or I can say estoy triste. That's probably not the best impression of someone who's sad, but you guys get the idea that I'm trying to look sad, right? The next pod that I want to talk about is going to be our share pod. And something I'm going to go over in particular with you is sharing documents using your share pod. So I'm just going to go, instead of share my screen, I'm going to change to share document. And then I'm going to pull up one that I've actually already prepared for this. And it is going to be... Let me find it real quick. There it is. Weather images. So let's say I'm trying to teach about the weather, right? Using my SharePod, there's a couple different things that I could do here. So I could say, let's say I'm trying to ask you, whoops, I'm going to turn on this pointer. I'm going to say nube. Nube. So using this arrow, what do you guys think a nube is? It's going to be a cloud. Now let's say I say nieve. That's going to be it's snowing, or I could say nieva, like it snows, right? So there's an example of how you could use a SharePod. If I ask the question, hace viento, a student may not know what the word viento means, but they can use this picture to help remind themselves, like, oh, viento, okay, that's going to mean wind, right? I could also ask, hace frío? And I can use both the webcam and the image, and the student's going to be able to associate the word frío, which they may not know, with cold. We can also do this with a few different tasks, a few different conversation cafes. It does take a little bit of preparation. I had to prepare that in advance, but it didn't take me very long. I just Google imaged, rain and weather and a few different things and was able to come up with those. Let's say I wanted to teach color. Now, color can be a tricky one. Like, how am I going to show color using a webcam, right? I'm actually going to pull up my notes pod for this. So I'm going to make a nice big font. I'm going to do 36 for this one. And let's talk about a few different colors. So the first color I'm going to talk about is the color verde. The second one I'm going to talk about is azul. And the third one I'm going to talk about here is rojo. So, if I'm asking you a couple questions, like let's say I want to know what color my shirt is. So, ¿de qué color es mi camisa? Now, I bet using the list of these three words here, you can think of what color it is. So, take a guess. If you guessed rojo, that would be correct, right? That's going to be red. So these are just a couple different ways you can use SharePods to help you stay in the target language. Again, while we want to stay in the target language, the goal isn't just for me to speak in the target language all the time. It's to provide comprehensible input in the target language. And the great thing about having these different pods is that we can provide comprehensible input even if we're teaching words that students aren't quite familiar with or they haven't learned yet. So that's just a couple things you can do using SharePods and Adobe Connect. I look forward to seeing the different layouts that you guys come up with as you adapt and create new material to be able to use in your different cafes. Good luck, and I hope this helped.